Hello! Last week my Cloud Code application went viral and I got many messages from you saying, Jorge, explain us how you built 6 products in 2 months with AI. So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. It's gonna be no cuts, no edits, just you and I, no dopamine. And by the end of this video, you're gonna learn how I build products so you can steal that and build really crazy products yourself. This is both if you're a developer or just like non-technical people. I'm gonna be covering both. My background is software engineer. I used to be a programmer for Amazon, Eventbrite, and different startups in Silicon Valley. So I'm gonna cover everything. If you don't have time to watch this video right now, comment Claude and I will send you a cheat sheet and a summary of this. These are the 6 different projects that I built. TypeHop, Inbouncer, Tidy Support, Superbuilder, Knowledge SDK, Blowzoo, and Smashing, which is a startup that I've been running for 4 years myself. Anyway, let's actually go to Superbuilder. All right, so a few things that are really important to work with AI. So I mainly use Cloud Code. I don't like 4.7. I use 4.6. 4.7 is basically more expensive, 35% more expensive, just because on the way they do the tokenizer. So I use Claude 4.6 Opus, and then basically Codex when I'm running out of credits, or like I just want like a different opinion or just debugging. I must say that I have multiple subscriptions with Claude, and you should have that too, because just paying overages, it's like a ripoff. But don't tell Claude that don't tell Anthropic that I use that. And for switching different like subscriptions, what I use is like a VPN. So I have one in Canada, one in the US, and potentially I will have more in Europe, etc. The first thing that is really important to make high quality production apps with AI is having templates. By templates, I mean actually like SaaS templates or mobile app templates, because if you don't provide a really great foundation for the AI, it's gonna create bullshit. So in my case, what I did was I have this SaaS template that probably could be worth a few mil. But I extracted from Smashing, right? So Smashing is this tool that I've been working on for the last 4 years, email marketing and campaigns. So on Smashing, I build a lot of things, right? So I build workspaces, team administration, team memberships, invitations, so you can bring people to collaborate on the same workspace, API keys, authentication, login, landing pages, SEO, a lot of things, right? So I was like, dude, like, if I want to create a lot of high quality products and software, I need to have my own template that is very robust, that it's battle tested, and that I have very strong convictions on how I write code for it. So you have 2 options here. One is if you have been working in different projects or even in your company, you can create a template from it. If not, just go on GitHub, just go on Google and look it up for SaaS templates, best SaaS template for 2026, or just buy a template and you're good to go. So that's the first thing that I do. And then like, so when I'm building a new project, instead of letting the AI go crazy and try to come up with like the basics of the code base, I just use my own template. And what I do is just come over here to Superbuilder and say, okay, create me an app. And obviously I spend like a few hours tweaking and doing the refinements. And then I say fork my templates, my SaaS templates on, and then like I just SaaS template. So I can reference different projects on Superbuilder, right? So this is what I always do, and it's been working really great. And this applies for anything that you can think of. I apply this also for SDKs and MCP servers. The second thing is that I strongly recommend you to do all the time is anytime that you're building new products, new ideas, there is going to be an open source project that is already out there, and you can not steal, but like learn a lot from them. So what I do is I go on GitHub, and for example, if I want to create, let's say I want to create like, a Superbuilder itself, right? So like a Cloud Code harness, etc. So I can look it up for, okay, so let's see Open Code or let's see Open Claude. So I go on GitHub, download the project, add it to Super Builder, right? So I could come over here, just click download zip. Then I would go to downloads. Oh, okay, it's finishing. Let's see. So here, for example, I could be, so dude, I want to create my own OpenClaw, read, and then I say, okay, OpenClaw, boom, 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 right? The AI is gonna go read everything, every single byte. So when you're thinking about the architecture or features, things like that, you know exactly how they built it, so you can replicate that or even improve that yourself, right? And I can reference multiple projects. All right, so the next thing that I do all the time is I never write manually, because especially when you're talking to the AI and brainstorming, when you're building like a new product or a new feature, I never type anything because that's really backwards. I just want to sit down and start like thinking about those ideas and share to the AI. So I use TypeHop. So it's like my voice dictation tool, but you can use many out there. I mean, I build voice like TypeHop because I hated like Whisperflow and all these other tools that charge you so much money and for nothing. So I just built my own, but you can use anything. And then like here, I do this all the time, right? So I start talking and sharing like, hey dude, like I'm working on this new idea. Here's like some references. So I go on Dribble, or I just like screenshot like websites that I absolutely love. So share all these references back and forth. And I always prompt the AI in a way where it's like, we're collaborating on these, brainstorming, poke the holes. And what I like to do a lot is actually running the same prompt into multiple AIs and into multiple models. So then I can actually compare ideas and the output of that. So for that, what I actually use, oh, there you go, like I already have that, so I can just send that. So for that, what I actually use is Branch Battle on Super Builder. It's actually behind a feature flag, but I can just give you access. But so if I actually go Super Builder, so what this allows me is to launch the same prompt in as many models as I want. So this could go from open source models to Claude models and stuff. And I use this all the time. So for example, I can choose DeepSeek, Kiwin, I can choose Opus, and then like I just run the same prompt, like give me ideas for new features. Now it's not gonna work because I don't have the dev server set up. But like, yeah, I would just come over here, just hit that, and then like it could spin like multiple sessions. So I use this all the time, and this is something that I strongly recommend you to do as well. So sometimes it's gonna be more expensive because you will need to pay money for all these different models, but it's so much worth it because it's almost like you compare and then like pick it up the best one. All right, so the next thing is the Agents.md. So it's not enough to have a really good template, because even though if you have a good templates or like baselines, the AIs can go really off track so much times. So I invested a lot of time. And by the way, you can bootstrap this just by asking the AI like, hey, read our code base and write conventions on how we write code, or good conventions, etc. But like I write this myself and then like refine that with the AI. So for example, like I have like these agents, which is a document that tells the AI like how it should be behave, and certain rules that you have. Let's see, agents.md. I don't use VS Code anymore, neither Cursor. So I think okay, so for this one I use only Claude, just because like I use Claude, so I only have Claude.md. But yeah, so here's like where I define everything, right? So I define conventions, how we write the back and the front end, how do we like to structure the code, good practices, bad practices. So just sit down with yourself, with your teams, and just like come up with really good documents and share it across all your teammates, because without that, like the AI is gonna go really crazy. And typically, once I'm done finishing a really big feature, what I do is I run multiple sub-agents asking them, please review the code base against our rules, review for security issues and CTO. But instead of like just putting that into one agent, what I do is, hey, review our new feature against our CFO, a CPO, a CTO, security researcher, and also check our agents.md, right? So I do this and they're like good to go. Okay, so a few things that are really critical to use, that I use this all the time, is I hate word trees actually. So I think word trees creates like, anytime like branches in general, it's really great for collaboration. It's really great in larger teams, but sometimes creating word trees is like a nightmare, because a word tree is basically like created like multiple versions of the same project and do changes, right? So I create a version of the project, I do changes to that, and then I sync them back to the main project, right? But like that creates so much mental overload, or like, how can I say? It's just like distracting to me, because I just want to work on something, and they like run multiple agents and keep working on the same thing without having to like merge conflicts and fix. But like, the way I avoid conflicts, to be honest, is the following. So, well, first, if I'm on a thread, obviously, if I'm coming up with new ideas, instead of like creating a new thread, if it's touching the same part of the code base, I simply enqueue messages into the same thread, right? So for, let's say I'm here, so I can keep adding like more messages. All of these are queues that are being sent out after you finished, right? So I mean, in this case, like, there's no conversation, but like, you get the point, right? So I queue all these messages, but like, there is something else that I do as well that is really relevant. So for example, let's say I have a thread with a lot of context and a lot of ideas that are changing specific parts of the code base, like, let's say our authentication flow. And on the other side, I want to improve our authentication flow with some other crazy ideas, but I don't want to reuse this context. I just want to start from scratch. Or let's say I want to find bugs, right? Instead of sending or creating a new thread immediately, because that thread is going to modify files that this other thread is still working on, what I do is create a new thread and schedule the message, let's say 1 hour from now. So I know like in the next hour, this thread is gonna finish already. So then like this other thread kind of start. So I avoid like any issues like merge conflicts or like local conflict just by doing this. But like most of the times, since I'm working on features that are totally isolated from each other, it's totally fine. But like I do this as well, right? So for example, I can say like, oh, find bugs in our auth flow and build one fix for it, right? So instead of sending now, I just schedule for the next hour. I'm just gonna delete this because I don't want actually this to fix anything, but like I can just run this in the next hour, in the next reset, in 50 minutes, whatever, and then I schedule that and it's gonna send out. So by the time that this other thread is gonna finish, this will start. So pretty cool and pretty nice. Okay, a few other things that I use a lot is actually the debugging feature. So if you're not familiar with debugging, is the same process that engineers and developers follows to fix issues in code bases. So so yeah, like a debugging is like, dude, like there is an issue on the project, like, oh, I cannot access this page, whatever. I want you to come up with hypotheses, and then the debugging, this is our own MCP server on SuperBuilder. Our own MCP, what it does is it provides a debugging server, so the so Claude or whatever model you use add logs and add like different shit in the code base to know exactly what's happening. So then Claude has all the context. So let's say, oh, when the user clicks here, let me know what's the state of the app, or what did they did, right? What did they do? So that's stored in the login, and then, long story short, this fixes issues 10x better because it has all the context over what's happening, and the AI is prompted in a way where it's like find issues, come up with hypotheses. So this increases the Claude Code like debugging skills a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much what I used. I usually change sometimes to codecs, especially codecs is really good because it takes so long and thinks a lot. It's really good on finding bugs and issues like that. But yeah, this is pretty much what I use. And automations, I like to run automations skills. The web browser one is great, like login with this, and then the agent will have access to a browser with all your login credentials. So yeah, this is it. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment the word Claude and I will send you a cheat sheet with all this information. Go to superbuilder.sh and download it right now. See you in the next video.